They're back on the road after a big win over the Stars. A 4-gamer starts in Buffalo. We get you set for the Oilers and the Sabres right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you inside the EST Global HQ studios. Zach Kubish producing today's pregame show. Good to have Ice Cube back in the fold. Shout out to the glue guy, Jay Milne. Solo hosting a show for the first time. Got the energy going for sure.
We're only maybe a year or two away from the Jay Milne show.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Don't, because then you can't have him and Reed break up like that.
Imagine the breakup.
Oh,
dun, dun, dun.
We'd have to do like a special video on that or something. Of course, join the conversation. Text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat. Hit that thumbs up button, please, and thank you. And we're going to be joined by Matt Kassian, our game analyst, in about 7 minutes or so. And then our good buddy from WGR 550 in Buffalo, Sneaky Joe DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase. I mean,
yeah, $1 million man?
$1 million man.
I know you're like, I'm not going to call him Ted DiBiase. And I said, I don't care. I think Joe probably would laugh at that. I used to really like the $1 million man back in the day. Yeah, and you walk around giving, like, throwing, what did he have, $100 bills?
Oh, yeah. The $1 million belt that he made himself.
Yeah.
With Virgil.
Virgil was his sidekick. That's right. Didn't Virgil just pass away?
He did. I think he did.
He did. He had some like post-career issues and all that. Anyway, Sneaky Joe from WGR 550 in Buffalo, my buddy Joe DiBiase will be stopping by. And remember we had Joe on earlier this year a couple of times in the offseason when the Oilers signed Jeff Skinner, who is making his return to Buffalo tonight, getting paid by both teams that are playing tonight.
He was really harsh.
He was very critical of Jeff Skinner. So Joe will be giving us the scoop on the Sabres as these two teams meet for the second time in about 6 weeks or so. I think January 25th at Edmonton was the last time they got together, closing out the season series, of course, 2 games between the Oilers and the Sabres this year. Edmonton 37-22-4, Buffalo 24-32-6. Sabres winless in 6 games. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. All right, Nancito, before we get to Cass and game changers and lineups and stuff like that, how do you feel about this team going into tonight's game? The Oilers, I'm not talking about the Sabres. And do you also have a question of the night for everybody?
Yeah, about the game first. This is a game they should win. Like, for me,
simple.
There's no excuses tonight. Yeah. Like, you're on a 2-game win streak. They're on a 6-game losing streak. Now, there's good players over there. There is. And they got a lot of pride, and they always play well against Edmonton in Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
But the Oilers can't go in. For me, a loss tonight is a gigantic step backwards. I don't care if it's 3-2, Tom, and they played really well. You can't lose this game. You have to win this game. And listen, 3 out of these 4 teams are out of the playoffs right now? Well, I think New York's right there, the Rangers. But these are all teams you should beat. Mm-hmm. And you want to start off well. What did we say in that Philadelphia game? Start off well. This is the weakest team you have on the schedule.
They did start off that game well. They scored the first goal and unfortunately didn't score the rest of the way.
Yeah, so don't do the same thing. Don't drop the game it's not a gamey game, but it's a team that's at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Yeah. You can't lose this damn game. And that's just the way I'm looking at it. Like, if they lose this one, Tom, like I said, I don't care if it's a 1-goal game. I don't care if it's an overtime. I don't care if it's a shootout. I'm going to lose it.
This is the third worst team in the National Hockey League.
And I think they won there last year or the year before.
The Oilers in Buffalo?
Yeah.
Edmonton has won one of its 4 last visits. They lost last year in a shootout 3-2. They won in 2023 3-2. They lost to Buffalo in 2021 3-2. They lost in 2020 to Buffalo in OT 3-2. There's been a lot of close games between these two teams. There was a blowout 8-3.
Yeah.
Where the Oilers took care of business at home against the Sabres. And then there was a 6-1 game in there a few years ago as well. That one also in Edmonton. So at Buffalo, the struggle isn't too bad, but they don't play particularly great and haven't recently in Buffalo. Just one win in the last 4 visits.
And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little concerned. I am.
18, 14, and 4 with 7 ties all time at Buffalo.
Now, if they play like they did the first 45 minutes of Saturday's game, they'll be fine. They will.
Yes.
And I know Tage Thompson a few games ago had some harsh words for his team. He included himself in everything.
As he should.
And so this team's going to be feisty. They want to snap a 6-game losing streak. I know there's an OT loss in there, so it's considered a 3-game losing streak, 6-game winless.
Winless and 6, you could call it. Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, it's one the Oilers have to have. And listen, I know Ekholm's out and Klimberg, who I don't think is going to be a regular anyway. I'm happy to see Jeff Skinner in for Kapanen, but there's no excuses for this one. This has to be a W. And the question of the night, I guess, early evening.
Afternoon?
I guess it still is the afternoon.
Technically, yes.
Technically.
5 o'clock still technically afternoon.
What was I going to say?
You're going to throw the question of the night out.
Oh, yeah. 4-game road trip. The Oilers were really crappy in the last road trip.
Oh, were they ever?
What's their record going to be when Tommy and I jump on the post-game show on Sunday night?
On this road trip?
On this road trip.
I say 3-1.
I'm going to say 4-0.
You're going, totally redeeming themselves for that really bad road trip a week ago.
I think New Jersey's a little bit down because they lost Jack Hughes, their best player. I think the Islanders is a team, again, you should beat. And the Rangers are so up and down this season, mostly down. And the Oilers play pretty well at MSG. So
yeah, they do.
It's time to go now, Tommy. Why not go 4-0?
I know a lot of people around here wouldn't mind it. That's for sure. What say you? 780-218-9999. How will the Oilers do on this 4-game road trip? Buffalo, New Jersey, Islanders, MSG on Sunday against the Rangers. He says 4-0. I say 3-1. Coob, do you want to take a shot at it? What do you think for the question of the night?
2-1-1.
Ooh. Damn it, Coob.
It could happen.
Loss.
Yeah, it could happen.
Put your money on it. No,
I did hit my prediction last game that they were going to win. You know what, Tom? I obviously I want the Oilers to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have to win this game. But I right now, if you ask me for prediction, I don't know if I could give you. Does that make? And I just picked them to go 4-0.
Yeah, you really did. You literally
hold off on
did.
that. That's in pencil. It's not in pen. So
okay.
Yeah, this team worries me when they go into Buffalo. So for some reason.
1 win in the last 4 visits to Buffalo. We'll see if they can make it 2 in their last 5. What say you? How did the Oilers do on this road trip? That is the question of the night. Text us, 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat. I'll get to starting lineups a little bit later on. Cass is standing by. Let's get to game changers. And as we approach game changers, we'll remind people that maybe are just tuning in or didn't catch it at the tail end of hour number 1 of the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Aaron Ekblad has been suspended for 20 games.
Yeah.
Which is insane. He has put out a statement. Quote, as the NHL announced, I have been suspended for violating the NHL/NHLPA performance-enhancing substances program. The news that I had failed a random drug test was a shock. Ultimately, I made a mistake by taking something to help me recover from recent injuries without first checking with proper medical and team personnel. I have let my teammates, the Panthers organization, and our great fans down. For that, I am truly sorry. I have accepted responsibility for my mistake and will be fully prepared to return to my team when my suspension is over. I have learned a hard lesson and cannot wait to be back with my teammates. That is
interesting.
Aaron Ekblad.
Also, if you look at it this way, Tom, it'll be nice and fresh for the playoffs.
He certainly will be.
Right? No, I'm being serious.
He will miss the first 2 games of the postseason, by the way.
Okay, so they have
Panthers have 18 games left.
An older guy, kind of like an Ekholm, a lot of wear and tear on the Ekblad, like a lot of wear and tear on the body is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously want him in the lineup, but Florida is going to the playoffs.
They just got Seth Jones.
I think they'll be okay, and Ekblad gets 20 games off and ready to go.
Hey, happened to Nate Schmidt. He went to Europe and then came back. People forget about it. All right, let's bring in Matt Kassian, our game analyst. We're going to get to game changers here. But Cass, I mean, huge news right before we went on the air for the pregame show. Aaron Ekblad accepting responsibility. He said, I did take something recovering from an injury. You played in the National Hockey League. You were subjected to PED testing. Maybe you could shed some light on how all of that works, because I know that there is a schedule. People show up from wherever they do the testing. Give us the players' side of how this works.
The random testing.
Yeah.
Random.
Are you air quoting?
It's random, Tom.
Or actually
really random.
Super random.
Somehow I randomly got tested every single time.
Oh,
without question. I didn't miss one. And I hated them. I hated them because you have a whole bunch of people standing around you watching you pee.
Yeah.
And if your pee's not clear enough or it's too dark, you have to redo it again. And so it's like, and it's not kind of like watching you pee. It's just like staring on both sides in an open area.
Yeah.
I get incredibly nervous. It's awkward. It is awkward. And you can't, it's like your pants got to be down at the floor.
Yeah.
It's like you can't have a shirt on. It's like you got to, like, they have to see everything to make sure you're not cheesing this. And it was horrible for me because I'm like, I know I'm not going to do positive on anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know I'm fine. I know I'm clean. But I would struggle to pee. Like I got a routine. I got into a routine because you could do it before or after practice,
right?
When they would do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I tried to do it beforehand, usually I couldn't go, and then I would have drank way too much, and then I'd have to go like take a leak all practice.
Oh, that's
but then I didn't want to go take a pee all practice because then, of course, I would have to sit and wait and refuel my body with all the liquids needed. And it's like you're drinking like coffee and Gatorade. You can't just drink water for afterwards. So it's like I couldn't go before. I had to start timing, like where I would start drinking way too much during practice, Gatorade, to try to get to the point so that when everyone started to leave the rink, that's when I could go. I'd put my headphones in and put music on because they'd allow that, and basically just try to transport my brain to another planet because it was just awful. I hated it. And of course, completely random every single time I got tested. And all the other guys, they routinely got in fights around the league. Surprise, surprise, they somehow randomly got tested every single time too. Mm-hmm. So it's actually not surprising with Ekblad, because I think that sometimes players with injuries or recovering from injuries end up on those randomized testing lists a little bit more frequently than others, just to check to see if guys are rehabbing, because that's a big part of it. And people forget sometimes. We think, or it's easy to think of, performance enhancing drugs as just steroids, right? Big muscles. That's oftentimes what people think of. But there's a lot of it that does have to do with recovery. It's about recovery, how fast your body can recover and get to that peak level and stay at that peak level. I mean, there's mental ones, just like kids in university, the potential of, prescription or non-prescription stimulants from a, well, yeah, but I mean, if you want to like Adderall, Ritalin, those sorts of things.
Right.
Well, that is speed. They're just modified. It's the same thing, same chemical compound, really just slightly modified. But using those sorts of things are, it's attractive in some ways because you want to be able to perform at the highest level. And for players that are trying to recover from an injury, there is pressure there. There are millions of dollars, quite literally. And for Ekblad, I believe it's a contract year for him too. So there's millions of dollars at stake, and you want to be ready to go. Now, you have a responsibility if you're not intentionally trying to do it, which, he kind of said he wasn't doing it intentionally. He just made a foolish mistake by not checking on something. You got to check. You have to know. So, I mean, the suspension, first offense here, 20 games, rightfully so. He admitted he took something, even if he wasn't intentionally trying to cheat. It was on the list of performance enhancing drugs that you couldn't take, whatever it was, and he got caught. So, I mean, I'm sure the Panthers are looking at this going like, why couldn't you get caught right before? Actually, I don't know. Does it count against a cap when a player's suspended? That's a good question.
There's no cap relief when you're suspended.
Okay. So so it doesn't matter. Florida would have been like, why couldn't you get caught before the trade deadline? And we would have known we had even more cap space.
Could you imagine?
But oh geez, that'd be guys are going to be getting caught all the time. Day before trade deadline. Guess what?
I took PEDs.
Hello.
What do you got? Hello.
Body says Boosh needs to be tested for sleeping pills.
Oh, Quaddy.
I remember for the Elks, after every game on the road or whatever, the testers would come in and and the guys hated it. They're like, oh, again?
Yeah.
Me? Like, because it's randomized, right?
Well,
and
he randomly got selected every time.
Yeah. There may be some. This is how in my mind, and so I have no actual proof of this other than my own experience. So I take it with a grain of salt. I could be wrong or mistaken. It could just be randomized, and I just ended up luck of the draw every single time. I think they look at guys that are, in their opinion, more likely to offend, and those are the ones that somehow end up on the randomized list every time. And then they probably have a group that's actually random, where it is truly random. And it's like they have high priority, high risk guys, and then they have the actual random ones.
Cass, so like, just last thing on the testing. I've been told by other players, same thing. Like they watch you pee. But like, are you going in the showers and they are like on chairs and multiple people, strangers, are just literally watching you pee?
It'll be multiple strangers, like in front of the urinal.
Oh, okay.
Generally, yeah. You're in front of the urinal, but there's a person on both sides of you, staring and watching.
Boys and girls.
Generally, I think they had boys.
Yeah.
I think they had boys. Just it probably made guys would make you more uncomfortable.
I would get stage fright regardless.
You do. It's weird. Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's not. I mean, I don't like, and different people are different. I don't like trough urinals where it's just like I'm whipping it out next to a stranger and going pee. Like I'm not a fan of that.
Sword fight.
Yeah. Like it's a high pressure because it's like you're expected to.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's
get
weird.
Into the flow.
Yeah,
exactly. All right.
Weird.
Everybody's bringing up the chokehold on Bouchard, and
yeah.
No wonder you can get out of it.
Oh, because Pez, yeah. Hey, all right, let's get into Game Changers with Cass after we really did a deep dive on random drug testing and how it all works. Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, I was talking to him today and yesterday a little bit. Consistent, top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He is community-driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city, so check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Before I dive into point number one, I texted him yesterday. I have other friends who are obviously real estate agents, but all they do is photo shoots, it seems like. Not of the homes, of themselves. And I sent Damon one. I'm like, is this all you guys do now is like model and photo shoots? And he's like, don't get me started. I'm like, don't get me wrong. Like, those are very nice photos, but I keep seeing all these photo shoots that real estate agents are doing. So we went back and forth on that. All right, let's get into point number one for tonight's Game Cast on Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. On your left, is this Captain America?
Is this It is a Captain America reference. Little Marvel Captain America reference here for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, little adjustment to the D pairings here, which was interesting. For the Edmonton Oilers, pretty fresh off the trade deadline and off a pretty big win. You're going with a little bit of a switch up. Ekholm is still out. Klingberg is still out. And Jake Wallman is making, at least at the start of the game, that transition to play up with Evan Bouchard, which is going to be interesting. We got to see Wallstead primarily play with Darnell Nurse and on the right side. He's going to shift here to the left side on Evan Bouchard's left, hopefully to steady him out. And that's kind of what's going to be interesting with this is, we've seen at times what Matthias Ekholm has done with Evan Bouchard and calming his game down and helping him play. Now, people are may disagree with some of that on this season, how it's gone, and Evan Bouchard's play as a whole. And I understand, but interested to see that again here. So, we saw Wallman step in and have a really solid game, his first game against Dallas. Hopefully that wasn't just adrenaline, and that's just what we're going to see from him down the stretch and into the playoffs. But a little bit of a different look to see him playing with Evan Bouchard here. And that to me is it's one of the big interesting storylines of this one is, in playing with different guys, what are we going to get out of them? Does playing now with a Jake Wallman give Evan Bouchard a little bit of a jolt? defensively? You know, does it give him a little bit of a spark? Does it give him a little bit of adrenaline? You know, is it his version of Aaron Ekblad PED, you know, to recover his game? You know, what is this? So to me, it's just super interesting. Again, the storyline heading into the game of Walman looking to shift from a defensive pairing standpoint to Evan Bouchard, and what type of game will we see Evan Bouchard have as a result?
Nancito?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to. I'm intrigued because last game with Nurse mostly on the right side, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So now they're going to try him out on his left and just see what he can bring. And obviously he's going to be better because that's his natural position. But I am intrigued with that D pair. You know, it's not all on Evan Bouchard, but you've seen Ekholm and Bouchard struggle as of late. And obviously Ekholm's out again due to minor injury and rest and all that. So it could be that as well. But going to be a good test for that pairing tonight after an impressive debut by Walman.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that was point number 1 of Game Changers. On your left, from Captain America. Great quote. On your left. I like that. And then in Endgame, when he comes in and he Captain America, before he says Avengers Assemble, he says, on your left, in his ear, and you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Mm-hmm. All right, point number 2, Sabres struggle bus.
Ooh.
Yeah, Sabres struggle bus. I'll say. The Buffalo Sabres are annually like a perennial, whatever they every year they shock me with how bad they can be. When I think they finally should have the ability to turn it around, they don't. They struggle again the other day. Get shut out 4-0 against the Panthers. They are sellers by a wide margin at the trade deadline this year, and they've been absolutely struggling. The Buffalo Sabres are a group that doesn't have an identity, that doesn't have really, it feels like a method to their, I don't want to say method to their madness, but they're a team that's lost still. Absolutely lost, even with the trades, what they've tried to do at the deadline. And this is a group, you know, when you look at their defensive core as a whole, you're kind of like, this should be a good team built from the back end out. Like Dahlin's in your top pair, Byram's in your second pair, Powers in your third pair. Like that's one guy in each pairing where like, okay, they should be able to move the puck well and cleanly out of their zone and produce some offense. Now, Dahlin has managed to continue to do that, but the forwards just haven't been able to, I don't know, build anything. You know, Cousins, who got traded, was absolutely struggling this year compared to years past, took a step backwards, needed to get out of town. You know, Norris, they're hoping, I guess, comes in and can play that top center role from Ottawa and play a good, solid two-way game for them. But they haven't been able to find any kind of traction. The Sabres are struggling. And you know, we talk about the Edmonton Oilers, and hopefully they're moving past that fragile state of mind. But it really feels like Buffalo is in that fragile state of mind every single game, and they may be the rest of the way out. You know, this is a team that's not going to make the playoffs. This is a team that doesn't have a chance at winning the Stanley Cup this year. This is a team that has every reason, short of guys being in contract years, to pack it in at the first sign of adversity and challenge. You know, you're playing a team in Buffalo as the Edmonton Oilers that is just ripe. Is ripe the right word? I don't know if ripe's the right word. Maybe rotten. They are rotten and ready to be picked and thrown away.
Yeah.
Like this is a bad group right now in terms of ability to play. If you play your game against the Buffalo Sabres, they are on the struggle bus. They are not going to get off the struggle bus unless you let them. Big night for the Edmonton Oilers to continue the turnaround here and actually play with some forward momentum.
They're one of those apples that has fallen off the tree and has, like, it's been hollowed out and something got in there. That's what they are.
We talked with Paul Hamilton out of Buffalo today, boys, and it was
he was very kind to the Sabres.
It's interesting what he said about their back end, though, boys. He said Rasmus Dahlin's been good, but he goes he doesn't elevate his game. Like, he doesn't take over games. He's not the difference maker on the back end on many nights. And he even mentioned that Bowen Byram, most of the time, is the best defenseman on the team. Like, that's insane to me. You have Owen Power, you have Bowen Byram, you have Samuelson to a lesser extent, and Rasmus Dahlin. Now, he said, I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm just saying when he was drafted, guys, he was like the McDavid of the defenseman.
Right.
And he goes, and he's like, he's 7 years in. I don't think he's ever going to get there. He's good.
Wow.
But he goes, when Bowen Byram is out playing him on most nights, he goes, there's something about that, right?
Well, Bowen Byram came from an organization that was good.
Yeah.
Rasmus Dahlin has been stuck in a bad, rotten organization. And I don't know if you can ever really shake that stink off when it continues to be perpetually
Well, you're stuck,
brutal.
right? You're just spinning, right? And
unless you're Jack Eichel.
Like,
and then you eventually just get out of Dodge.
And we can feel it a bit, boys. We went through the decade of darkness, then one playoff year, then 2 more years out.
Yeah.
So, like, it's very similar to what's going on there.
They're
Not to the
pushing
extent. Yeah.
Second decade of the double decade of darkness, which is brutal. Okay, it's Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian, the Oilers and the Sabres, coming up shortly. We'll hear from Joe DiBiase in a little bit. We've got point number 1 tonight on your left. Cass says Sabres struggle bus, and we went into that quite a bit. And then finally, Cass, I like this one. I know where you're going with it. 14 gamer.
How can you not look at Leon Draisaitl right now? And I know he had one really bad game the other day, and we called him out for having a really bad game, but we gave him a pass because he's had so many good ones. And guys, potential here to run it to 15 games from a point streak for Leon Draisaitl. Just continues to be absolutely dominant, regardless of who he's playing with. Has found ways to put the puck in the net, to create offense, and to just be absolutely spectacular. You know, very few guys in the modern NHL. You know, I know we can look back to the 80s, and there's a laundry list, particularly for the Edmonton Oilers, of guys that had 15-game scoring streaks and had multiple ones of them. But it is incredibly rare in the modern NHL for guys to be able to put runs like that together. It is tough to do so, and Leon is doing it in spectacular fashion. You know, it's not just empty netters that are running this thing along here. Like, he is finding ways to score big goals in big games and to be part of the offense in key crucial moments. You know, we talk about Connor and we talk about Leon all the time, but I had to bring it up. I mean, the potential of a 15-game scoring streak is just otherworldly. So how can we not talk about Leon running at that 15, particularly against the Buffalo team that has been riding the struggle bus, as we mentioned earlier?
You know, I want to talk about the struggle bus? The Oilers with empty netters. Hey,
oh boy.
Yeah, that too. Oof.
Yeah, Leon's been awesome.
Oof. He has been very, very
good. For a team that's, you know, a lot of the forwards are not producing at the rate we thought they would. I mean, last game, at least a couple guys got off the schneid there, and Hyman and Arvidsson and who am I missing? Connor Brown.
Yep.
So, which is good. And I'm excited to see Jeff Skinner, boys. He's revenge game. They bought him out.
Both teams are paying him.
Just don't score or he'll be sat out.
Score.
No, if he scores, he'll be sat out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Captain will be back in.
What do you make of this cast? Like, Skinner, you know, Knobloch talked about him today, but Skinner, he, like Nanso said, puts up points. Not a ton. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not on a 14-game heater or anything like that, and hasn't been. But since the calendar flipped to 2025, he's been all right when he's actually played. Like, how do you think he's affected by all these healthy scratches?
Man, I don't even know how you'd process it. And I get defensively, he's not a defensive all-star. I get there's been still some leaky issues, but some of that hasn't been just like strictly his fault, right? Where plays have broken down and goals have gone in. There's been some that it has been, but like, he is one of the few guys outside of Draisaitl that has like managed to chip away offensively, and he's done it in very limited minutes and limited situations, like where he's still found ways to put the puck in the net or to contribute offensively. So I don't even know how you're mentally taking this, especially when you're seeing Captain make plays, turnovers in the neutral zone, getting lit up and beat. Like, it's, you know, we've talked about that where I was like, I don't understand why you're not playing him. And he has improved since Christmas time defensively. Like, he's locked that side of his game down a little bit more, where he's smoothed things out. So I don't get how they've been sitting him as much as they have been. You know, he looks like he will get a little bit of an opportunity tonight. How long the leash is going to be, I don't know. could depend on how the Oilers play overall, but yeah, it's got to be frustrating. Now he knows he's not going anywhere now. No, he's not getting traded anywhere now. Who knows if they legitimately tried to or talk with him about that? I don't know that they did, but I can't imagine it feels very good to get sat out as an NHL veteran that's been a top 6 guy. Oof, it's tough.
And did you guys notice today, Knobloch, he did say, it hasn't worked out the way we thought it would.
There's no point in hiding it.
Yeah, it's the first time he's ever said it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we all knew that though. Like, I mean, it's not like he surprised anybody by saying that. We're like, yeah, we can tell you keep healthy scratching him. Yeah. So clearly it hasn't.
No, exactly. All right, we'll see what he can do in his return to Buffalo. Jeff Skinner back in the lineup. Cass, great stuff as always, my friend. We'll catch up with you on the postgame show.
See you guys. Have fun with Joe.
All right, that is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, with Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, now with the agency. You could text us, 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat if you're watching on YouTube. And we're going to get to Joe DiBiase here, Sneaky Joe from WGR 550 in Buffalo. You know what Joe had to say about Jeff Skinner in the offseason? A lot. Like, you talk about Paul Hamilton bringing it today.
Yeah.
Joe brought it when we brought him on to talk about Jeff Skinner. And let's bring Joe in.
What's up?
To nobody's surprise, especially me after talking to you about Jeff Skinner, everything you said in the summer, Joe, outside of, like, I don't think you said, oh, he's going to be healthy scratch, because he's been healthy scratch a ton, like Cass was just talking about. But, like, no defense, only offense, doesn't really generate his own offense. Like, you can come on here and be like, hey, everyone, hello, Edmonton, I told you so. Does it feel like a win for you, Joe?
I don't want to take the victory lap just because I want it to go better for him. I want him to be scoring 30 goals. But no, it's very predictable given what the usage has been, because I watched it happen here twice. Once with Ralph Kruger, and then again with Phil Housley, or not with Phil Housley at the beginning of Don Granato. But it's what he is as a player. It's kind of what he always has been as a player. I was looking at some of his like some of the more like numbers on like, per 60 minutes of ice time.
Yeah.
And this year in Edmonton, it's the exact same as it was last year in Buffalo. And last year in Buffalo wasn't his best season. It was like a 24 goal season. He's got to play with a great center. That's fine. You don't have to play him with a great center. Just if you don't, you're probably not going to get much out of him.
Right.
Joe, we talked to Paul Hamilton earlier. And, he was great and honest about where this team stands.
I talk to Paul every morning.
Yeah, well, you work with him. He was very positive. I'm just kidding. He was not very positive about this team.
I just want to ask you, before we get to the game tonight, we saw the deadline coming on Friday. The Buffalo Sabres sent out Dylan Cousins, made a handful of moves. What's the response been like with what Kevin Adams did here at the deadline, shipping out Dylan Cousins, bringing in Josh Norris, and a few other moves sprinkled in there as well?
I actually think it's been a pretty positive reception. I think it's a kind of a minute crowd that thinks this way, but that, the Sabres 14-year playoff drought, no matter what the GM does, he'll get criticized, because he does get criticized a lot for not doing things like in action. And I think Friday was proof that no, if he just makes big swings and, tries to shake things up, he'll get applauded for it. I thought he got a round of applause from fans and from a lot of media for that trade on Friday. The combo of this core just wasn't working. I don't know what happened to Dylan Cousins over the last 2 years, but it was becoming more and more clear that for him to get back to what he was 2 years ago as a player, I just don't think it was going to happen here. So all the credit to him if he's able to do it in Ottawa, but there weren't even signals or signs or flashes that made you think that he was going to get back on track here in Buffalo. So you trade him for a guy that has a better shot, and Josh Norris is actually a better defender. I think that Cousins' nickname, Workhorse from Whitehorse, which is a great nickname, I think it from the beginning kind of overrated how good he was defensively. I think he's kind of been a problem in his own end the whole time, but he's got that nickname that he's from UConn. So he's got to be good defensively, right? So I think Norris is actually a better player there. I think Cousins is a better puck carrier, but that might be it. Norris on the power play is better. So I think what you did is you took one gamble, which is what's going on with Dylan Cousins? Why can't we get him back on track? And can we ever do it to get him back to where he was? You took that gamble and traded it for a health gamble. So they're both gambles. You've got 3 shoulder surgeries for Josh Norris. That is definitely worrisome. But when they're on the ice, I don't think it's a question. I think Norris is a better player. It's just going to come down to whether he's actually on the ice or not.
Well, him getting traded made Brady Tkachuk almost cry.
Yeah.
Legit.
Hey, does Brady Tkachuk, are we going to fire those trade rumors back up? Because Buffalo's got his best friend now. Buffalo's got his best friend now.
Oh, it's all a slow burn. I love it. Listen, Joe, you and I have talked about this a bunch of times, and I've said it on our airwaves, and I said it at the old station. Like, Buffalo is a really good hockey town. Dialed in fans, they care. But like you just said, 14 years, it looks desolate again. How is this fan base handling this? Have they given up all hope, or are there still diehards that are like, no, don't worry, it'll happen. Like, what's it like? Is it apathetic? I know the Bills are great, but where's the fan base at with this organization?
I think it's a combination of just everyone's demoralized. They feel like the Sabres are kind of stuck because what are you supposed to do now? It's 14 years. Everyone wants them to win right now. But this is why I think Friday's trade was important, just to get some kind of hockey trade done, because all the reporting was, oh, they can have a trade if they want, but what do they want to give for Dylan Cousins? What do they want to give for Bo Byram and all these other pieces? Oh, they want to trade picks and prospects. And here it's just like, again, we're going to do another rebuild. I don't want picks and prospects. I want to win right now. So that was a general attitude. And the crowds are shrinking year by year. The season ticket base, I think, is shrinking year by year, which is natural. I mean, it's amazing that it took as long as it did. It really took till like COVID, which was 10 years into the drought before that all started to really go away. So I think their patience has run out, and that's completely fair. So I think that it's a feeling of being stuck, and the confusion comes where here's the football team over here. It's the same owner. And I think the biggest difference between the two teams is resources. The Bills have every resource available to them. The Josh Allen, $300 million contracts. You want to outspend almost every team in the league? Go ahead, Buffalo Bills. Go ahead, Brandon Beane. You're able to do that. And meanwhile, over here with the Sabres, we've been wondering about them having an internal cap for 5 years. Jeez. Because all their actions speak to they have an internal cap. What'd they do with the Jeff Skinner money that they bought him out for? They didn't go. They were still $7 million under the cap at the end of the day. They paid for their roof and their new scoreboard with that money. So I think it comes down to resources, and I don't really know why it's so different between the football team that is always spending to the cap, always spending a bunch of money, versus the hockey team where you could think, oh, it's just because they're young, right? They think of how the Coyotes have done business over their years in Utah now and other organizations where when you have cap space, weaponize it, take on bad contracts that have 1 year left to make a trade work for someone else, and get some draft picks back. Yeah. The Sabres have not retained salary in a trade in 4 years, and they've had cap space every year. That is a sign right there of a team that just doesn't want to spend money.
That's mind-blowing considering they do own the Bills. Like you outlined it perfectly. These are billionaires we're talking about, right? The Pagulas are mega bucks, right? I don't get it. I don't understand.
It's it's the ticket base is shrunk, right? And money coming into the team goes away. So that could be it. I mean, the football team gets a giant TV contract every year. So there are differences with the businesses, but right, it's the same owners.
Yeah.
Joe, you know how, I don't know if you know, but Edmonton fans are up and down here in this city, and we couldn't get Ryan McLeod out of here quick enough after last year's playoffs. Now everybody wants him back. Can you fill us in on how Mr. Ryan McLeod has looked there in Buffalo? I see he's going to be centering the second line tonight against the Edmonton Oilers, but how's Ryan McLeod done there in the 62 games so far for the Buffalo Sabres?
I think it's been a pleasant surprise. I mean, as advertised, he is super fast, and I think he's a very good defensive player. He's the Sabres. If he's not their best penalty killer, he's right there with Jordan Greenway. He definitely, Tom spoke to this the first time I talked to you about after they traded. Like, he's definitely not someone that's going, super hard into the corners and throwing his weight around a lot. But I'm impressed with his offensive game. I mean, part of that could be a lack of opportunities in Edmonton that were understandable. They have the best centers in the world versus the Sabres, who moved Tage Thompson to the wing this year. And they've been and Cousins hasn't been playing well, and Kulik's a rookie. So they've needed somebody to step up, and him playing 16 minutes a night, getting power play situations. He's out there at the end of games trying to tie the hockey game. And he's on a 20-goal pace. He's on a 50-point pace on the season. So is he going to be that forever? Probably not. He's shooting 22%, which is 10% higher than his career average. That is absolutely going to regress in the future. But is it going to regress back to 11, 12 goals where he was with the Oilers on the fourth line? I think he'll probably settle in as a nice 18 to 22 goal guy a year. He's going to play defense for you. Sure, you'll have your headaches about the lack of physicality, but to me, I think he's giving them everything that they could have hoped for when they traded for him.
He's a great kid, too. 16 big hits from McLeod through 59 games for those wondering at home. Joe DiBiase joining us now from WGR 550 in Buffalo. Oilers-Sabres coming up in about 25 minutes' time. The Oilers kicking off a 4-game road trip. Joe, 6-game winless streak. 6 losses, obviously, but with that OT loss, 6-game winless streak. What has the Sabres game been like during this stretch? Have they just been unlucky? Could we see them with the spark tonight playing against the Oilers? Because we just noted it earlier in the show. Edmonton has 1 win in its last 4 visits to Buffalo. Give us the scoop on this Sabres club in the last couple of weeks here.
That's very weird that they only have 1 win in their last 4 visits, by the way.
Right.
There are things like Toronto's terrible in Buffalo for some reason for like 10 years. I think what you're seeing is a more loose style that the Sabres have been playing. I think they're kind of leaning back into let's play run and gun up and down the ice the way they played under Don Granato 2 years ago, where they almost made the playoffs, and they're scoring goals. I mean, they're back to one of the better teams in the league at even strength at scoring. They are a top 10 even strength scoring team in the league this season. They are actually, I don't think this is true anymore. It was true going into last week, so maybe it's changed since then, but they were number 1 in the NHL in the first period in goal differential. So hot starts, and then they would collapse after that. The worst team in the league in the second and the third. So that's kind of been the story of their season. I think you're seeing a lot of chances, though, given up lately, and you are not getting the goaltending. They paid Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen this summer, and he had a good year last year, and the regression has really come on the forefront for him, where I think we're back to questioning whether he's a starting caliber goalie in the league. I've got 4 seasons now when he's looked like a starting goalie in one of them. So I think the goaltending has kind of been a problem. I think they're giving up a lot of chances, but I mean, maybe you take the over on tonight's game because they're scoring a lot, and we'll see. They could play different. McDavid and Draisaitl coming to town. Maybe they decide this is not the team to play that way against, but if they stick with what they've been doing, I think you're going to see a lot of scoring chances tonight for both sides.
I have one last one for you. It is free agency in the NFL. I know you do the Bills pre- and post-game show.
Yep.
How's that stadium coming along, by the way?
Oh,
That's what I want to know.
It looks good. It's the outside is close to completion. Like you drive by it, and like the overhang. There's no roof, but there's like an overhang that covers like 70% of the fans. That's all done. They're putting speakers up now, like they're hanging that. So it's on track to be done on time, which you would hope so. But I think the only thing they have to do outside the stadium is the wrap that they're putting outside it just to kind of finish it.
Yep.
So I think if you were to drive by the stadium in like a month or two, it's going to look like it's completely done. They still have to do stuff on the inside, obviously, but I think it's going to be the nicest building that Buffalo has ever had. Honestly.
It looks super cool. Hey, does that roof, does it really have like a heating technology in it so that snow doesn't build up? Did I read that, or was that just a myth?
That's on the grass.
On the grass. Okay.
The grass is somehow fitted so that I think it's maybe what's underneath it's because it's going to be real grass. They have turf at the current stadium.
Right.
This is going to be real grass, and somehow they have it so where they can control like through an app what the temperature of the grass is going to be, so that there isn't snow sitting on the field. It really is. Everyone wanted a dome. It's as good as you could have it's an indoor experience almost while it's outdoor because 70% of the fans are covered.
Yep.
And there's wind resistance all around the building. They have this technology like you were just talking about where they can keep the snow off the grass. So it's going to be, you still get your snow globe games, but it's going to be a way better experience when it is bad weather.
So we're not going to be seeing them offer $20 an hour, bring your shovel, and we'll give you free food. That's going to go away.
I mean, they might still offer it. You just might not need as many shovelers. They've needed like tens of thousands of shovelers for some of these games.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Joe, as always, my friend, great to catch up with you. This was awesome. Be well and hopefully talk to you again soon.
Definitely. Thanks, boys.
Joe's the best. Joe DiBiase from WGR 550 in Buffalo. I'd like a little sprinkle of NFL in there because we had a lot of NFL news today. And the Bill, started with the Allen. That got announced like right away this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge.
300 plus.
Yeah. I mean, man, covering these Sabres team must be tough. Like, you can hear with Paul Hamilton. I know Mike Harrington on X is pretty straightforward.
Vicious. But those guys have been covering the team for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like Joe handles, at least Joe can talk about the Bills, and they're really good, obviously. But he didn't pull any punches. He just...
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Joe's not 25 years into covering the Sabres. He's
a really bad
5
team,
or 6 years
yeah,
into it. Yeah, so... Anyway, good to catch up with Joe. Sneaky Joe, follow him on X. He's excellent. Obviously, you saw him and you heard him. He's a great resource, and we love having him on.
There's a good Shaggy in St. Albert. Ask Joe if his dad allows him to wear the $1 million.
Yeah. Well, you're like, I hope I don't call him 10. I'm like, you know what? He probably gets it all the time. He'll be just fine. He can roll with the punches like the best of them. All right. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. We should get into starting lineups for tonight's game. Oilers and Sabres. Oilers kicking off that 4-game Eastern Conference road trip, like we said. By the way, I'll also mention this. We're live on location on the 14th, this Friday, at Boston Pizza Westgate for the Islanders-Oilers game. Come on down.
Nice
Lots
and early.
of great giveaways. Yes, Hernan stops by. I think Cass is going to be there for that one. I know he said he wanted to be on location for at least one of those, and I think that's the one he is circling on his calendar. And Tony and Curtis, the fantastic time as always. They have great giveaways.
So pregame at 4. Right?
4, because it's now 5 o'clock start, but whereas before it was scheduled at 4:30, right? That's the one we were talking about.
No, that one's today.
Oh, today. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, it's 5:30 game.
Okay, so I'll probably be there for pregame because Coop's going to produce.
Right, because it's right in the middle of the Reed Wilkins show.
So I can join you for pregame.
Yeah.
I can jump, like, if Cass is there, then we can just swap headsets.
I have 3 headsets.
Oh, okay.
Look at this.
I should know this.
You should know this. You should know this. All right, let's get to starting lineups. Brought to you by South Fort Chev. We're officially in Truck Month, which comes with deeper discounts and lower interest rates on Silverados and HDs. 0% for up to 72 months on Silverado Custom and Custom Trail Boss. Silverado is built in Canada. 90-day payment deferral or $10K cash back with the purchase of a new vehicle. Conditions do apply. See dealer for details. www.southfortchev.com. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. Do you want to do lines or do you want me to do?
No.
I have them. I can.
I can do the Sabres.
Okay, you'll do the Sabres. I'll start with the Oilers. So for the Oil, a couple of little tweaks today. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Arvidsson. You got Matthias Janmark back at center. Jeff Skinner in the lineup, like we were talking about. He'll play on the left side. Connor Brown on the right side. Then Adam Henrique centers Max Jones and Corey Perry. On defense for the Oilers, Jake Wallman paired up with Evan Bouchard. Let's see how that goes tonight. Darnell Nurse with Troy Stetcher. Brett Kulak with Ty Emberson. In goal for Edmonton. No surprise. Well, maybe a bit of a surprise. Stu Skinner is going to get the nod. He's 22-15-4, 287 goals against average, 897 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 43 games this year. Skinner versus Buffalo, 3-2-1 record, 250 goals against average, 918 save percentage in 6 games against Buffalo over the course of his career. Hernan Salas.
Yeah, this is from Heather Engel, who covers the Sabres for NHL.com. She sent these lines out 13 minutes ago. Peterka with Norris and Thompson. Your second line will be Ryan McLeod, Tuck and Jason Zucker, Peyton Krebs with Jack Quinn and Benson, and then Malenstein with Lafferty and the newly signed Greenway on the fourth line. Defensively, Samuelson with Dahlin, Byram with Bryson, and then Owen Power on the third pair with Clifton, and Ukko Pekka-Luukkonen gets a start.
Yes.
For the Sabres.
Great name to say. Ukko-Pekka-Luukkonen. 20-20-4 is like Luukkonen's stats, with a 314 GAA, 890 save percentage, 2 shutouts, 46 games this year. Luukkonen versus Edmonton, 1-1 record, 482 GAA, 859 save percentage in those 2 appearances versus the Oil. No Jacob Bernard Docker, who they just recently traded for. Visa issues. You got to get the visas sorted out. That is part of the deal. That brings us to the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you'd like to see go away, book your consultation today at www.advantagesportsmed.ca. For the Oilers, no Ekholm. He's not on the trip right now. They have him listed as day-to-day. John Klingberg has traveled with the team. He's day-to-day undisclosed. Trent Frederick, IR ankle. Alec Regula, IR knee. Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery and knee surgery. As for the Buffalo Sabres, Yuri Kulich, I should say, day-to-day illness, and Greenway and Zucker were listed as day-to-day, but they look like they're both in action tonight. Nancito, a couple minutes left before we pass it back to Jay Milne and the Coob. What say you?
Oilers better win tonight, Tom. That's all I'm saying.
Otherwise, you're going to get feisty?
I'm going to get feisty. You can't lose to this team.
You shouldn't.
I don't. There's not one excuse I'll accept tonight. Not one. On anyone.
Why?
They better win.
Yeah.
And it better, I shouldn't say it better be a blowout. They
just get
win.
a solid win.
Yeah. Just go out there and win the game. Play like you did for the first 40 minutes on Saturday, and they'll be fine. I like that they're going back to Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
This is his team.
It's back-to-back coming up on Wednesday or Thursday, Friday. So.
That too, yeah. Right? So you're going to see Calvin Pickard. But yeah, let's go. It's going to be a fun one.
I agree. Reed Wilkins, name sounds familiar, but he texted in, says, excellent job. I'm assuming that's towards Coob and you. So,
no, that's...
Thank you, Reed.
That's for Jay Milne's first hour.
Oh, okay. But he did text it in like 15 minutes ago.
I think he's just catching up.
Oh, just catching up.
Hey, sorry, I forget the name, the gentleman who dropped off the goodies for us.
That was Liquid Beaver.
Liquid Beaver.
Shout out to Liquid Beaver who stopped by.
Whew. I just crushed.
Quickly, great cinnamon buns that he brought in.
Oh, amazing.
Thank you, Sheldon. Appreciate that. And he had one beer of the week, but Maddie hid the GCs for Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, or we just need to get restocked. One or the other.
Yeah, probably Maddie hit him.
I blame it on Maddie.
Let's blame it on Maddie. That's a fun thing to do. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Coming up next, it is the final hour of the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Jay solo hosting for the first time. He had a great first hour. He's got Coob with him the rest of the way. The Coob is back. Awesome time. Big thank you to Joe DiBiase from WGR 550 in Buffalo. Great information as always from Joe. And that'll do it for the pregame show. For Matt Kassian, Ice Coob, and the Latino Heat, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the final hour of the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. We'll see you on the postgame.
The Lock Shop.
One good thing that I'm trying to remind myself of, and many others, if you look at the deadline day deals of recent Stanley Cup champions, they've actually been quite quiet on deadline day. Like, there hasn't been teams that have been loading up at the last minute that have actually gone on to win. I mean, hell, the Washington Capitals did nothing. There are a number of teams that feel like they can win the Stanley Cup.
The Lock Shop, weekday mornings at 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino. Don't miss the internationally recognized tribute, the Alan Jackson Experience, April 18th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets at rivercreekresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Play more tables and games.
Play more tables and games. Make the most of your bad game. Oh, you want to, you need to, you know just what you gotta do. It's time to add some fun to your life. Make the most of your bad game. Play more tables and games.
PlayMoreGames.ca.
Love is in the air.
I love you.
And you? And you? And you! Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
Missing the course? The Canadian Ice House is here to keep your skills sharp. Trackman golf simulators are open. Real golf action right in downtown Edmonton. Don't let the off-season slow you down. Visit us in-store or check out thecanadianicehouse.com for all the details.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino. Don't miss the internationally recognized tribute, the Alan Jackson Experience, April 18th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets at rivercreekresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Tommy Gunn's Barbershop is more than just a barbershop. It's a top-notch, tailor-made experience from check-in to check-out. Get a precision haircut, a classic shave, or a facial to step up your style. Just walk in, relax, and let Tommy Guns take it from there. Find comfort in knowing their team follows the code, which is their commitment to care for you as a customer. Check out Tommy Guns today, in-store or online at TommyGuns.com to bring out the best in you. Tommy Guns, where every cut is done right every time.
Painting 500. Whoop.
Oilers-Sabres just about to get underway. No Matthias Ekholm or Kasperi Kapanen. Jeff Skinner takes his spot in the forward group as Troy Stecher stays in the lineup on the back end. Stuart Skinner also gets the nod in between the pipes. For the Panthers, captain Aaron Ekblad has been suspended 20 games for violating the NHL's performance-enhancing substances program. Ekblad released a statement saying that he took something to help him recover from an injury without asking the team's medical staff to see if it was permitted. 3 other games around the league. The Sens and Red Wings drop the puck. Toronto hits the road in Utah, while the Avs take on the Blackhawks. And in the NFL, Sam Darnold signs a 3-year deal in Seattle. Canadian Josh Palmer agrees to a 3-year term with the Bills, while the Commanders land Laramie Tunsil from the Texans for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round pick. On the court, it's the Raptors and Wizards tipping off, seeing a dozen games around the NBA. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc, locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since '93. They have doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, they got plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff today at Windsor Plywood Leduc. I'm Zachary Kubish. For your sports update, the Reed Wilkins Show resumes right now.
What is happening? We are back. Coob, can you turn up my mic a bit? Yeah, a little higher. Really pump it in there. Okay. We are back. We are going to keep... There you go. We're going to keep you posted on what's going on during the Oilers game as they are in Buffalo. As you heard just now on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, Jeff Skinner draws back into the lineup. He will be with Janmark and Connor Brown. Be interesting to watch that. Ekholm and Klingberg remain out. Sabres have had the Oilers number the last 4 games in Buffalo as they are 3-1 against your Oilers. So it'd be interesting to watch. It'd be, based off how the Oilers played Saturday night, facing a tough opponent in Dallas, it just seems like they've got their jam back. They've got their swag back. Beating a team like Buffalo would definitely help in the belief for Oilers fans in thinking that way. Before we broke for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, we had not had anybody qualify or send in the winner for the Hudson's Canada Pub Mystery Athlete of the Game. So I'm going to go over those clues right now, and I'm going to give you the third clue shortly after. So the first clue was 105. The second clue was Montreal. Clue number 3, Tommy. Clue number 3 is Tommy. I'll give you a hint. It has nothing to do with our beautiful Tommy Gazzola, or as some would say, Tommy Gargonzola. There have been other iterations of the name. Clue number 3 for the Hudson's Mystery Athlete of the Game is Tommy. Please send your guesses, and we limit those to 3, to the afternoon inbox, which is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant and all-you-can-eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday from 4 to 10 p.m. That is at the River Cree Resort. Now, we were on a pace. We were clicking, thumbing. So let's keep at it. Let's see if we can get to the word of the day territory, which would be 130. We're on pace there. So if you haven't already, click that thumbs up button. Go ahead and do so. If you haven't subscribed to Edmonton Sports Talk, do so. And we welcome those listening on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the TuneIn and iHeartRadio apps. We love you all. It's time for the game of the night, which is brought to you by Play More Tables and Games.
Play more tables and games.
From ping pong and pool tables to darts and dome hockey, plus all the classic arcade you could ask for, visit Canada's Game Room experts. Locations in Edmonton and Calgary, or online at www.playmoregames.ca.
Play more tables and games.
Well, I think it's safe to say what my game of the night is going to be. It's going to be the Oilers, who are visiting Buffalo. Zach Hyman, he's scored 2 goals. That's his 20. He's now at 22 goals on the season. He has 4 points, 3 goals, 1 assist over his last 5 games. Victor Arvidsson contributed Saturday night, scoring his 8th goal of the season. And Connor McDavid is riding a 7-game point streak, 2 goals, 8 assists, and a 3-game multi-point streak in his last 3 games. So those are going to be fun to watch. Coob, what do you got for a game of the night? You just sticking to the Oilers at Sabres?
I'll stay in the NHL, but I'm going to go with the Senators and the Red Wings tonight. I believe they might be having a new player, Dylan Cousins, in the lineup. Of course, Josh Norris and Dylan Cousins were traded, coming from Buffalo. So he leaves, heads to Ottawa, and is the new Buffalo Sabre in the lineup tonight? Because they made that trade with Ottawa. and getting Josh Norris.
I didn't see him on the lineup, Coob, but I did see Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Go. Hernan, thumbs up. He is in the lineup tonight. Oh, sorry. I can't even read my own writing. Yes, of course he is. I just went over that. He's going to be on the first line with JJ Peterka and Tage Thompson. Second line will be Ryan McLeod and Jason Zucker and Alex Tuck. Third line, Peyton Krebs, Zach Benson, and Jack Quinn. Sam Lafferty centering Beck Malenstein and Jordan Greenway. So that, more thumbs up for Jay, as Grant Morgenstein says. Let's get to that. I also had, just so you all know, I had a flurry of emails throughout the break. I was off for the last hour, checking my emails, getting caught up, getting prepared for this third hour. But a lot of limericks came in. So I know you're all, usually sending these to read as you go along, but I appreciate you sending them to me. And you know what? They have a lot to do with me. So thank you once again. This one comes in from Tube Socks. The Oilers have talent to spare, but sometimes they don't seem to care. When facing a team that's not quite supreme, let's hope they bring more than just air. Well done, Tube Socks. And Gavin writes in, this is his second limerick of the day. Well done, Gavin. A solo show today on Super Mario's Day. He's reads Luigi and great with a squeegee. Smash that thumbs up for Jay. I like that. I don't know how you knew I was great with a squeegee, but here we are. Okay, it's time to get into Crunch the Numbers, brought to you by Gallo LLP Chartered Professional Accountants, where they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John at Gallo LLP if you would like to discuss further how they can crunch your numbers and help your business grow. Visit their website, gallollp.ca, and see how Gallo LLP can help your business grow. We are just about face-off. Well, it happened. This game is underway. We will keep you updated throughout. And crunching the numbers, this NHL free agency is just happening and changing so fast. My Commanders are in the mix. They have acquired 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle Laramie Tunsil from the Houston Texans. Huge, huge, huge deal, as they are now in Jaden Daniels protection mode. They got Deebo Samuel. Now they've added Laramie Tunsil. I'm liking that. Sam Darnold signs a 3-year, $100 million deal with the Seahawks. I'm not so sure about that. I did not believe in Sam Darnold at the end of the year. I certainly don't believe in him anymore now going to Seattle to replace Geno Smith, who has went to the Raiders. But I will say this, that is good for J.J. McCarthy, who suffered a knee injury in training camp last year for the Vikings. He appears to be the bona fide starter going into training camp for the Vikings. And yes, I did pick him up late in my draft, my fantasy draft. So he has been sitting on my bench waiting for his chance to return. So to that, I am excited. DK Metcalf. I don't know what to think about that. I hate to say it, but I think DK Metcalf's best days are behind him. I feel as though he could take the top off of a defense, and now that has been somewhat, maybe not exposed, but you know what you're getting out of DK Metcalf. I don't know what he'll do in Pittsburgh, but I do know he signed a 4-year extension, $132 million deal, to have Russell Wilson throwing you the ball. Interesting. We are just underway. About 2 minutes in, Coob. No score between the Sabres and the Oilers. We will keep you updated. Who watched the Brier? I know Mike, the Michigan fan, definitely did. Team Alberta's Brad Jacobs wins the Brier for the 29th time for a team from Alberta. Although Brad Jacobs is not from Alberta. Not sure I quite understand that. Used to be you'd get 4 guys from the Wassetna curling rink that could potentially make it to the Briar and do some damage there. It seems like those days are gone. Lieutenant Eric and I were talking about it this morning, and somewhat more reminiscent of the Pinty's Grand Slam of curling now, because anybody can play for anybody. They've changed the rules. I believe when Mark Kennedy was on our show, now Briar champ, congrats to Mark Kennedy, and we will be trying to track him down to get him on the Reed Wilkins show. I believe he said you could have 1 import on your team. So I don't know. Say what you want about that. But yes, intense final. They ended up winning 5-3 over the Manitoba's Dunstone rink. And Lieutenant Eric and I were live tweeting during this curling match last night. Not live tweeting. We were messaging each other because I know he likes to watch. And after that, I think it was early in the 8th end, or I think it was Dunstone missed something. Yeah, he missed a shot at the end of the 8th, and the wheels fell off. You could see it in his face, and the Jacobs rink took advantage of it. In terms of crunching the numbers, this is the 3rd title for Alberta in the last 7 years, although they were all with different skips. Cooey, Botcher, and now Jacobs. Jacobs and his rink won 4 elimination games to claim the Briar this year. And this was his first Briar since 2013. So, needless to say, congrats to the reigning, or to the new Briar champs and the Jacobs rink. The mystery athlete has not yet been gotten. So I'll go over the clues again. Clue 1, 105. Clue number 2 was Montreal. Clue 3 was Tommy. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sprinkle in clue number 4 here. Clue number 4 for your Hudson's Mystery Athlete of the Game is 44. So send those into the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. And I'm going to go back. There were other people that had asked some questions. Today's off-topic topic, presented by William Huff, was, what do you want or have you wanted to know about me? Big Uke. I answered this earlier, but I'll get into it a little bit more here. How and when did you first meet Dusty? Dusty was the play-by-play announcer for Golden Bears football. This would have had to have been 2010, 12, 13 era. And I was asked to be his color man. So I did that. And we did that for about 3 or 4 years. So that's how Dusty and I first met. Let's see. Coob, are we going to get into your... I know you talked about it a little bit on EST Afternoons. Are you comfortable talking about your trip to Seattle?
More than comfortable. It was fantastic.
Okay, and was this just a solo trip?
Me, myself, and I. Yeah, that was the whole company I had. I just went, I don't know, alone. I thought it was time to take a trip, solo trip. Don't really travel much, so I'm like, well, I need to take vacation. Last year, some of us at EST didn't really, take vacation. We were voluntold to try and take some time off. So I thought, I'd rather do it willingly. Booked a week off. Went out there for a few days for a concert, and then caught up with another couple other things, I guess. I went to a Kraken game, Kraken versus Wild. The Kraken didn't play very good. I'm not surprised. And saw their fantastic Climate Pledge Arena down there in Seattle, and enjoyed the rest of the city as well.
So you actively, you pursued a trip on your own?
Yeah, that was kind of the goal, to go a little bit out of my comfort zone. And that was the first time I stepped over outside of the border of Canada ever in my life. I've never been to any other country before then.
I don't know that I could do that, Coob. I don't know that I can, but I want to get into it a little bit more as we go buying or selling. And we're going to do this after the break. But I wanted to remind you that portions of this hour are brought to you by the Canadian Brewhouse. This St. Patrick's Day, the Canadian Brewhouse is giving you your shot at winning a trip for 2 to Ireland. Think of all the limericks you could do over in Ireland. Enjoy Guinness and green beer specials, so drink up, enter to win. and let the luck of the Irish do its thing. Coob, we're going to be back with buying or selling for Damon Bunting, where I want to ask you if you're buying or selling that Seattle is a travel destination, especially when you're traveling by yourself, a la Zach Kubish for the past week. Coob, take us into the break.
Oilers and Sabres just about midway through the first period are scoreless. Mattias Ekholm remains out for the Oilers. Kasperi Kapanen, a healthy scratch for the game in favor of Jeff Skinner, while Stuart Skinner backstops the orange and blue. And after violating the NHL's performance-enhancing substance program for using a banned substance, Panthers veteran Aaron Ekblad has been suspended 20 games by the NHL. From Utah, the Leafs and Hockey Club duke it out, while Ottawa hosts Detroit and the Blackhawks meet the Avs. In the NFL, Sam Darnold signs a 3-year deal in Seattle. Canadian Josh Palmer agrees to a 3-year term with the Bills, while the Commanders land Laramie Tunsil from the Texans for a second, third, and fourth round pick. A dozen games fill the NBA schedule. Toronto welcomes in the Wizards. The Lakers hit the road in Brooklyn as the Nuggets battle the Thunder. The sports update is brought to you by Clover Bar Feeds. Clover Bar Feeds has all the animal feed you'll need. Get top-notch service and selection from their family-owned business. Visit Clover Bar Feeds at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park, or call them at 780-467-5014. Buying or selling? Up next. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Take your career to the next level with Nate's Construction Leadership and Supervision Program, a perfect tool for professionals looking to advance their role or an organization needing to develop leaders. Learn more about safety supervision, scheduling, cost control, and most importantly, how to lead a team. For more information and to register, visit nate.ca/CLSP to take your career to another level.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
The EST Hangout.
McKenna in Medicine Hat. He's really good. His ability to really hold the puck and really quarterback the play, no matter what zone he's in, is really, really exceptional. And he's got great vision, great talent, hand-eye coordination off the charts. But then he's also got a shooter's mentality too.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at gcldiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
At Mind360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc, we're the experts you need to know.
All right, we are back on the Reed Wilkins Show with me, Jay Milne. Reed is off today, but have no fear. He will be back tomorrow. About 9.5 minutes, or all approaching 9.5 minutes gone, are remaining in the first period. It is nothing. Oilers at Buffalo. Oilers have 7 shots on goal to the Sabres 3. Connor McDavid was recently denied a very, very close chance. Connor Brown has hit the post, and by all accounts, out in the bullpen, the Oilers have been controlling the pace of play, we will say. It is time for buying or selling for Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting has been a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out on DamonBunting.com or his Instagram handle of Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon's a good buddy of mine. Love that guy.
Have you worn the new T-shirt he brought you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's
that thing is sweet.
Both of them are amazing. What was that store? It was From Another?
From Another, that's what it is. Yeah, I was actually there the other week as well, and I mentioned it to them, and they're like, yeah, we get stuff like that all the time. And that old school Washington football club, the Redskins stuff, is very popular, apparently.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can't find it anywhere now, so that doesn't surprise me. So nobody has gotten the Hudson's Pub Mystery Athlete of the Game. Clue number 1, 105. Clue 2 was Montreal. Clue 3 was Tommy. Clue 4 was 44. And I'll give Clue 5 out here in a bit. I think it's going to give it away. Coob, I just saw something that came up here this afternoon, and look, the Oilers are playing. I get it. We're going to keep you updated, but I have to talk about this because this is probably one of my worst nightmares. At the Kicking Horse Resort today, one of the arms on the Golden Eagle Express, which is the gondola that takes you from the bottom of the hill to the top. At Kicking Horse, it's really the only way that you can get from bottom to right at the top. There are a couple other chairs, but this is used by pretty much everyone. The arm broke. The arm that holds the gondola on the wire, that arm broke. And thankfully, it was at the bottom of the hill where this happened, because I've that's where we go every year. We go there for a week. I don't know if we'll be going anymore because this arm flat out broke. And thankfully it was at the bottom of the hill because there are some terrain that gondola goes over that is steep to say the least. Buying or selling that, and this goes for gondolas, this goes for chairlifts, this goes for amusement park rides. Are we putting too much faith in me and my family and I getting on one of these and going 4,000 plus feet into the air and trusting that this gondola is going to get me up to the top safely? Do you think about that stuff, Coob?
I do, and I don't want to live a life of almost paranoia in a sense. Like, it's hard to not think of something like that, especially when you're on, say, at Klondike Days or whatever, K-Days. You go on a ride, they get set up and taken down within a week. And how often do they get checked? Who is setting these things up? If it's in the rain, if they're tired, you know what I mean? You're putting the trust in the person who has set this up and who is looking after it. And sometimes there's just malfunctions. You can't look away from that. It'll happen to any kind of machinery as long as it's used. But how often does that happen? Like when I went in a plane to Seattle, when we took off, I'm like, okay, planes are safe, but something could happen. So when the attendants are talking about, please read the little card tucked in behind the seat. Okay, make sure you know the safety procedures where the exits are. I always look after that stuff. I always take that extra step for caution. So things like that, a gondola falling, it can happen. And thank God it happened at the end of the trip or at the bottom of the hill, whichever way it was going. But no, I definitely think about those things. And I don't think you're being too cautious, it's not that you're putting too much trust. I think you're being cautious about it, but I do think that you should trust the process.
I'm not one to throw any caution towards that. I'm just, let's go to the top of the mountain. It's okay. But seeing something like this is just, and knowing that I'm supposed to go there in a matter of 10 days for a week of skiing, I don't know if they're even going to be up and running by then. Leon Draisaitl just had a breakaway. There's 7:19 left in the first, and save was made. Oilers are definitely buzzing here in this game. And just a side note here, I'm going to, because Tommy and Hernan are here for the duration of the game, and they will obviously be your hosts for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. I'm going to try pry those guys in here for a little bit of something new. We're going to try it because they're here and get a little first intermission breakdown. What do you think of that, Coob?
I like it.
I'm down with that. Okay, so let's get to this here. You've just come back from your trip to Seattle. I know you had some pictures. I still can't believe you did this and embarked on this trip by yourself. To that, I've got to give you a round of applause. Certainly, I could never do that again. Buying or selling, Coob, is Seattle. I have never been to Seattle. Is Seattle a destination for somebody listening, or not necessarily a sports fan, but because he did a lot of other things? What's your take on that?
There is a lot to do there. Like whether you're a foodie or you're into fashion, I mean, you could buy clothes really in any country. But if you're into really anything, there's a beach, there's fishing, you could get into the history aspect of it. There's a lot of history in Seattle for being such an old city. It's been around for over 170 years or something like that. I probably know more about Seattle than I do Edmonton in their history, at least because of what I learned on the trip. But I think it's well worth it for anybody, and especially if you're a sports fan, like going past their Lumen Field and T-Mobile Park, they're jammed right together, was really neat to see. Climate Pledge, I was more excited to be in the arena than I was to really watch the game because it's just such a great venue. But overall, man, I would say that's one place you got to circle on that dot.
Coob, I got to just break in here as Tage Thompson has opened the scoring for the Buffalo Sabres. What was a pretty routine save for Stuart Skinner, not the rebound, as Tage Thompson pretty much goes right to the net, picks up the rebound, and tucks it in behind Stu Skinner. 5:53 left in the first period. It is 1-0 on the unassisted goal coming from Tage Thompson, his 32nd of the year. And you know what? That was our final segment of the show, Coob, was fired up. And I would imagine that goal, that Tage Thompson goal, might just get the boys fired up a little bit. But, okay, that's Skinner with a bad rebound. This comes in from Shaggy in St. Albert. Skinner with a bad rebound and allows first goal. You know what? There's not too many ways you can talk about that without saying that was just an absolute poor rebound. What are you going to do? 1-0 Buffalo. Coob, back to your vacay. What was this thing? Is there like some sort of a gum wall? Or what was you posted a picture and I thought it was absolutely disgusting.
I was grimacing the entire time I was walking down an alleyway. It's near the Pike Place Market, so it's in the bustling kind of it's a touristy attraction for sure, but in their big market in Seattle, that's one of the big things they're known for. The original Starbucks is there. There's a lot of great restaurants and shops and weird things that you could buy, kind of novelty items and stuff like that. And there was this gum wall just under the alleyway, and it's exactly what you think it is, a gum wall, a wall filled with gum. So it's pretty gross. It was neat though, because there was a little improv joint, like an improv comedy joint, kind of.
No, I think you have to call it a
between.
joint when you're in Seattle in an area beside a gum wall. I think you have to call those establishments joints.
Yeah, a little hole in the gum wall, I guess you could say, right? And it's literally sprinkled the entire way down. There's just gum everywhere, and there's parts, of course, where it's more clustered, like I have up here on the YouTube. There's a lot of people walking down there, and they're kind of looking weird. Some people are chewing gum, and they're gonna add their little own. It's kind of like a thing that you do. I didn't add my own piece of gum. I thought it was disgusting. And there's about a block, like way down the alley, there's little kind of sprinkles of gum, and then you kind of walk up, and there's different colors and shapes and things like that. It was neat. Will I ever go back to it? Probably not. It was really, really gross. But to walk through it for a second, it was kind of awesome. But they're kind of saying to litter in their city. A little bit of littering, right?
Yeah, that's probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. I don't like ducks. I don't like birds. But almost on that same level of disgust and just dislike is gum. And to see that is just awful. The Oilers are continuing to apply the pressure. They've now got 9 shots on goal. And Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has made some incredible saves. Otherwise, this game could easily have been a lead for the Oilers. Just under 3 minutes left in the first period. And as I mentioned, after the break for the final segment of the show, I'm going to drag Hernan and Tommy into the studio. And the boys are going to get fired up for Gemco fireplaces and Napoleon products. Coob, buying or selling? Spring is the best of the 4 seasons. Are you buying that or selling that?
I'm selling that completely. I don't even think it's a top 2 season.
What?
I'm a winter kind of guy. I think it might be a hot take. I think it might be the least favorable season, in my opinion. Not that there's really anything wrong with it besides the change from winter to spring, because you're kind of in that weird spot where the ground kind of, things are coming alive. Everything's dead, but it has an odd smell. There's puddles there. There's mud here. It's all mucky, dusty. There's dirt, gravel. It's just gross for at least a month or so until, the city starts cleaning up the roads and stuff like that. But I'm more of a fall guy. Fall's the top. Then it goes winter, summer, and then spring. And a nice May is okay, but overall spring is meh. I could live without it, kind of skip it.
See, I've always been a spring guy because I know the days are getting longer, okay? The air is fresher. You can now leave your windows open around the house, right? Spring cleaning, spring cleanup, get the yard cleaned up. If you have dogs, go pick up all their you-know-what but the best part about spring is the knowledge and awareness of summer being next.
So that's
that
kind of the excitement.
Summer is coming. Yeah, because summer, as summer tails off, you just know that fall is around the corner, and it's kind of sad. Spring is all happiness because everything good is happening. The trees are blooming, the snow is melting, the days are longer, the sun is it's warm, like everything about it's great, and you know that you're leading into what I feel is the best season of the year, which is summer.
Okay, so it's kind of the lead up. Now, I mean, like you just said there, spring, it's life. It's where life kind of happens and it starts rebirthing. Every single year, things come back to life, of course. But you didn't say you like spring fully because of that. You said it was kind of that lead up. So you're almost looking ahead already when you're in spring is kind of why I don't like it.
Big Uke chimes in the nasty chat. And if you want to chime in, go ahead and send something in on the nasty chat or join us on the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. He says, no, you can't give their goalie credit for good saves. They are bad Oilers shots that aren't placed right or else they'd go in. And he says, that's how to be negative, right? Or do we just, on Boosh and Stu? I'm new. Yeah, I guess, And Rip Van Winkle chimes in, says that Janmark chance is a classic example in the slot, and he shoots it along the ice. Well, we're gonna get some input here from Tommy and Hernan. I'm gonna give the final clue for the Hudson's Mystery Athlete. Nobody has even sniffed at this, and I think now that you have this fifth and final clue, it might become a little bit more clear to you. The fifth clue is Ferrari. Once again, here's the first four clues. 105, Montreal, Tommy, and 44. The fifth clue is Ferrari. We'll be back next for Fired Up, presented by Gemco Fireplaces and Napoleon Product. This is the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports Talk. Take it away, Coob.
From Buffalo, the Oilers are down 1-0 to the Sabres. Tage Thompson scoring off a wrist shot. Just about 2 minutes to go in the first frame. And in just a moment, the Red Wings challenge newly acquired Dylan Cousins and his Senators before the Hawks match up against the Avs. And the Leafs face the Hockey Club. Down in Florida, the NHL has dropped the hammer on Aaron Ekblad after he was found guilty of violating the NHL's performance-enhancing substance program. He's been suspended for 20 games. NFL free agency has kicked off. Sam Darnold signing a 3-year deal with the Seahawks. The Texans making a deal moving Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders for second, third, and fourth rounder, as well as a third round selection from this year. Canadian Josh Palmer heads to Buffalo, agreeing to a 3-year deal, while Tampa Bay extends Chris Godwin for 3 seasons. 12 games dot the NBA slate, including Raptors, Warriors, Hornets battling the Heat, 76ers meeting the Hawks, and the Lakers tipping off against the Nets. This sports update is brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. Get treated like a pro with their highly skilled crew, whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance your performance. Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy uses the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas joins Jay Milne in the studio next. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric.
Darren Dreger joining us.
Do I think that Rantanen was interested in going to Edmonton? No. He wanted to go to the team that he ended up on, and that's the Dallas Stars. You do have to give credit to Stan Mullen and every manager who tried to throw the hat into the ring. These guys don't come along very often, so you definitely have to explore every possibility to see if there's a fit.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric, presented by South Fort Chevrolet. Weekday mornings 6 to 9, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Love is in the air.
I love you.
And you? And you? And you! Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
The Canadian Brewhouse wing flavors of the month are going head-to-head. Spicy Dill 2.0 versus Bang Bang Sauce. Head to the Canadian Brewhouse for wing night to cast your vote. Great wings, cold drinks, and an atmosphere you won't forget. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino. Don't miss the internationally recognized tribute, the Alan Jackson Experience, April 18th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Welcome back to the Reed Wilkins Show with me, Jay Milne. This is a treat. I gotta say, we are joined by the hosts of the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game shows, Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Fellas, how we doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me back.
Yes, Tom, it's been so long.
I know.
We're better than the Oilers.
That didn't take long. That didn't take long. I like it. If you want to express your displeasure with the Oilers, please do so on the River Cree afternoon inbox, which is presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special. $6.99.
That's it.
11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. And with that, I think it would only be fair, given who's sitting to my right, to get right into it. We're going to get fired up for Gemco Fireplaces. Gemco Fireplaces has been proudly serving Edmonton and area for 45 years and are the authorized dealer for Napoleon fireplaces. Whether it's gas or wood burning, look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon fireplaces. All the Napoleon products you need are available at Gemco, 9281 50th Street. Fellas, it's Canadian made that stands out there for me, especially these days. But what's happening down there with the Oilers today is nothing to be proud of, is it?
This is fired up.
This is fired
up as Coob yelling at us at the break.
He does talk loud.
We've
established
he yelled
that.
at us.
He wakes you up though, like it's.
He's
make sure you guys know what's going on. Don't fall asleep like the Oilers are
yelling.
I fell asleep a bit there.
Yeah, I fell asleep for a little bit of that period.
Now, we did have a winner of the mystery athlete. Congratulations to Alicia. These were the clues. 105, Montreal, Tommy, 44, and Ferrari. So guess who I went to today and said, hey, what should I do for the mystery athlete?
This sounds like, Joaquin Gage.
Joaquin Gage had his hand and prints all over this. So 105, that's his record for F1 wins.
Okay.
That's how many wins he's at. Montreal was his first F1 win in 2007. Tommy, you even asked, you said, why? What's the reference to Tommy? I don't get it. Well, in 2018, he launched a designer brand with Tommy Hilfiger. 44 is his original kart racing number. And Ferrari, obviously, is his new team.
That's the giveaway.
After the departure from Mercedes. Fellas, let's get fired up. We don't often get the chance to do this, so I am pleased to have you with me. What did you think of the first period, boys?
Actually, Edmonton played pretty good. They dominated that period. They controlled large portions in the offensive zone of that first period. But of course, because the Buffalo Sabres are the third best first period team goal differential wise, they got their goal and the Oilers didn't. 3 posts for the Oilers, right? Including Connor Brown on a wide open net. And then Stu Skinner doesn't handle a Tage Thompson shot, tries to glove it. It bounces in front of him. Thompson buries it, so they're down 1-0. I have no concern that they're not going to come back in this game, Jay.
Okay.
Just if they continue to play the way eventually they're going to score if they keep playing that way. But I think it was the 4th shot of the game, 4th or 5th shot, and Stu let it in. So not a good goal. Stu let in his classic bad goal, and he got it out of the way. So now it's up to the Oilers to take over the rest of the game and get a couple of their own.
So is that a goal you can only place on Stu Skinner? You can't look anywhere else. That was just a stinker.
I mean, Tage Thompson has a good shot, but you got to be able to glove that or control it a little bit better. That's a bad goal. Call it how it is. That's a bad goal on Stuart Skinner. It gives them life. They're feeling good. It's kind of run and gun right now.
Yeah, it is.
And I think Buffalo obviously playing with a little bit of fire with that because the Oilers, like Tommy said, they will find the back of the net if they play another 2 periods like they did that first one, outside of a bad play by Stuart Skinner. So, I mean, the Oilers are playing well. I'd be a little more concerned if it was a bad game by them, but they're the better team. It's not even close.
Buffalo can score. They score a lot of goals. They just don't play defense particularly well, even though they have good defensemen, good young defensemen. But Edmonton close on a bunch of chances, just couldn't bury. Draisaitl had a nice rush, just about scored. McDavid had a nice opportunity. We talked about Connor Brown. We talked right at the end of the period, actually, Darnell Nurse hit the crossbar. So I think they'll be okay. You just want that goal back that's Stu let in there.
And what do you think on the contrary? I mean, Big Uke posted this in the nasty chat, and it might have some legs. Is yes, for all the chances, and what they hit 3 posts?
3 posts, 3 bars in that period, yep.
Is that just something that you say, okay, that's going to come around?
It should.
It should. You hope that the hockey gods shine down on you soon enough and those go in. So I obviously wasn't watching as intently as you guys have been. Wallman, how has he been this, through the first period? What have you noticed him? Have you not noticed him?
-1.
-1.
Well, again, that goal wasn't his fault, but he's looked okay. Like, he's snapping pucks. Edmonton had a lot of possession time in the offensive zone. They just couldn't score. And I think Wallman looked all right. Max Jones was out there only a little. I don't think I noticed him a ton out there. And they did throw McDavid and Draisaitl out there a couple times together. But yeah, Wallman's with Bouchard. They've been okay. Like, obviously the first time playing with one another as a pairing. Passing grade there, I would say.
McDavid 8 minutes.
Yeah. He was out there like every second shift.
I'm just looking at Max Jones, 334, lowest on the team.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
So
and a few bad giveaways. Sorry, Jay. Emberson had a really bad one.
Yeah.
Bouchard here at the end. So they got to don't get sloppy, right? They're playing run and gun right now because I think Joe said like they're just opening it up, like their last place, like at least play entertaining hockey.
6-5 loss to Tampa.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't mean that the Oilers defensemen can start throwing up risky plays and all that. They still got to stick it. Don't get into bad habits, and they'll be fine. Pekka Luukkonen has looked okay. He hasn't been great.
Like they've missed the net on a bunch of chances. They've missed the passes on a couple of plays in tight as well. They're smothering them. They just can't score.
3 posts, eh? I mean, that
happens.
That happens, huh?
It happens. One of those things.
I was talking about it earlier, and I just wanted to. Did you guys see that gondola that snapped? At Kicking
You told
Horse?
me about this.
Like,
I'd freak out.
That's terrifying. Like, that's the picture of it on the bottom.
Jeez. Oh my
at
God.
the hill. Thankfully, nobody was injured because this is right at the bottom. But I mean,
that's where it snapped.
Yeah.
So it only fell a few feet then.
Yes.
Thank God.
But I mean, when you're going up, I mean, I'll tell you this. Kicking Horse Resort is known for Boo the Bear. Boo the Bear was a cub that was born there, and I don't know the exact story, but essentially the cub was born and the mother was killed, not by any like humans or anything.
Okay.
So they took in this cub and built an enclosure.
Yeah.
That's right smack dab in the middle of the ski resort.
Is Boo the Bear still there?
Boo the Bear still lives there.
Really?
This gondola, I kid you not, for a whole, because they have it fenced off, like it's professionally done. Like there's no way Boo's getting out or anybody's getting in. That gondola goes over that bear's den for about 500 yards.
That's how big the enclosure is?
Yeah, it's big.
Oh, wow.
It's a big part of the mountain, but I mean, you see that and you got questions about that.
Yeah, but how often does something like that happen?
I have never.
That's super
We've
rare.
all seen the crazy videos from like Europe where the gears stop or and the chairlift's going backwards at high speeds and everybody's flying off. I've never seen anything like this. I'm now concerned about my family trip to go there, and because my wife found out about it now, and she's, oh, look at this, Jay. You're gonna take the kids up this thing, are you?
I don't. I've done that once. It was pretty cool, but again, it's kind of creepy. Just when you're that high up. When are you going?
Well, I was supposed to be going later this week. Friday, I'd be off,
and then you're off all next week.
Yeah.
Ooh.
TBD, bro.
But, okay, that happens and they have to fix everything. They'll obviously go
Shutter.
over
Tom,
fine-tooth comb.
that's my question is now, we would have occupational health and safety all over that and say, okay, if that one broke, how can I guarantee that the other ones?
Yes, they're going to look at every one of them and make sure everything's in working form.
I'm really questioning it. But, okay, here's the facts. We were on a torrid pace earlier before the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, and we got to like 130 likes. We're now back up to 73 again. That is well in the range. Now we're running out of time. So Coob, I want you to give us the word of the day. We're going to do this together. Are you guys familiar with the word of the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Big fan
Coob's
of the
going to
show.
read us a word. We're going to try spell it and give the definition.
Okay.
The word is frisson.
Frisson?
Or frisson.
Frisson.
Son.
Frisson.
Because
French?
it's French.
Frisson.
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 Do you want to try to spell it or do you want me to try to spell
No,
it?
you.
Okay. Frisson.
Very, very close, but no.
Oh, shoot.
Frisson or frisson?
Is it a French word?
Frisson.
Then there's a
It
T at
is
the
a
end.
French derived word.
Is there a T at
There's
the
no
end?
T at the
Oh,
end.
shoot.
Damn it.
What do you think?
When it's cold outside and I put my tongue on the post, it frisson.
That's not how it works. That's not. That's a bad example.
Well, wait, we haven't even
I saw
spelled
it
it
in the
right
movie.
yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, what's
the proper spelling?
Yeah, we screwed up on that. Tuba guy. What's the correct spelling, Coob?
Frisson. So you went
Oh.
Frieson. You're one letter off.
Oh, shoot.
Well,
Very,
is
very
it like boisson, like a drink,
Frisson.
or a berry?
Yeah, boisson.
Boisson is a berry.
Yeah.
So fris.
No,
Are we
boisson is that's drink.
are we directionally correct with something?
You are
song?
not. You
Okay.
are way out in the bush. You're in Boo's den right now.
Coop, you still have us on the shot of the.
Oh.
Oh, Coob, you're trying
Yeah,
to show off
You just don't want
Hernan's
us
beautiful
on the-
face
on
here.
screen.
Okay, hit us with the definition.
Yeah.
A sudden, strong feeling of excitement or fear, semicolon, a thrill.
Oh, like the people inside that gondola when
Yeah.
it snapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like coming on this segment has been a frisson.
Use it in a sentence, Coop.
There was a frisson of excitement in the warm air.
Like nobody else, Coob. Okay, you guys will be back after the game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show.
Yep.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for being a part of this. And thank you for being nice to me. as this was my first time riding solo without
energy today.
Without the great Reed Wilkins in attendance.
Knocked it out of the park.
Thank you. You have been listening to the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports Talk. You catch up with these guys after the game. We'll see you tomorrow.
Fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf, oh sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.